Every room has one person who notices too much, the pause before a reply, the smile that feels forced, and the small change in someone's voice. That person is often you. People call you thoughtful because you understand what others miss, but they never see what happens when you are alone. You replay every word, question every feeling, and blame yourself for moments everyone else has already forgotten. The gift that helps you understand the world has slowly started stealing your peace. So how do you escape a mind that never stops watching you? In this audiobook, you will discover why deep thinkers suffer quietly and how to feel free without losing the depth that makes you different. Subscribe to the Book Frog, like this audiobook, and comment, "I release the pressure." Your mind was created to guide your life, not to keep you trapped inside it. Chapter 1. The Mind That Watches Everything. Your life may look calm from the outside, but inside, your mind is always working. Someone speaks to you, and you hear more than their words. You notice the pause before they answer. You see the change in their eyes. You feel the distance behind their smile. Hours later, while everyone else has moved on, your mind is still searching that moment for a hidden meaning. Did I say something wrong? Are they upset with me? Did I reveal too much? Should I have stayed quiet? A simple conversation becomes a private investigation. A small mistake becomes proof that something is wrong with you. One cold reply can change your entire mood, even when you do not know what it meant. This is what makes deep self-awareness so confusing. It feels like wisdom because you notice so much, but when awareness has no boundaries, it stops helping you understand your life and starts making you afraid to live it. You do not simply feel an emotion. You stand outside yourself and watch yourself feeling it. When you are sad, you ask why you are sad. When you are happy, you wonder how long the happiness will last. When you begin to trust someone, you search for signs that trusting them may be a mistake. Even your peaceful moments are examined. You may sit with people you love, while part of your mind remains busy measuring everything. Am I talking too much? Am I being boring? Do I look uncomfortable? Can they tell I am nervous? Do they really want me here? Your body is in the room, but your mind is watching the room from a distance. Instead of living the moment, you are studying yourself inside it. That is exhausting. The problem is not that you think deeply. The problem is that your deepest thinking is often turned against you. Your mind notices a small change, then creates a painful story around it. Someone takes longer to reply, and your mind whispers that they are losing interest. A friend seems quiet, and you assume you have disappointed them. You make one mistake at work, and suddenly you question your whole future. The event may be small, but the meaning you give it becomes enormous. This is how self-awareness slowly becomes self-surveillance. You stop being a person who is living, learning, and growing. You become a guard standing over your own life, checking every word, every choice, and every emotion for danger. You correct yourself before anyone criticizes you. You reject yourself before anyone gets the chance. You prepare for pain before pain has even arrived. Perhaps you call it being careful. Perhaps you call it maturity. But sometimes, what looks like careful thinking is fear wearing intelligent clothes. Deep thinkers are often good at understanding other people. You can see why someone acted badly. You can recognize the pain behind their anger. You can forgive people because you understand their past, their fear, and their weakness. But when it comes to yourself, that same understanding disappears. You give others the benefit of the doubt, yet question your own intentions. You excuse their silence, but punish yourself for speaking. You understand their mistakes, but remember your own mistakes for years. You become gentle with everyone except the person living inside your own mind. This creates a strange kind of loneliness. People may believe you are strong because you rarely show how much you are carrying. They may think you are quiet, independent, or emotionally controlled. They do not see the long arguments taking place inside you. They do not see how many times you rewrite a message before sending it, or how often you choose silence because you are afraid of being misunderstood. They see your calm face. They do not hear the noise behind it. Over time, you may begin to believe that freedom belongs to people who think less. You watch others make quick choices, speak without fear, and recover easily from embarrassment. Meanwhile, you can spend an entire night thinking about a sentence that lasted 5 seconds. You may envy their ease, but you do not need to become careless to become free. You do not need to lose your depth. You need to stop using your depth as a weapon against yourself. Awareness should help you see clearly. It should not make you doubt everything you see. There is a difference between noticing that someone's behavior changed and deciding that you caused it. There is a difference between learning from a mistake and using that mistake to attack your worth. There is a difference between understanding your emotions and putting every emotion on trial. Not every uncomfortable feeling is a warning. Not every silence is rejection. Not every mistake reveals your true value. Sometimes a moment is simply a moment, but your mind turns it into a final judgment about who you are. Think about how often you have suffered because of something that never actually happened. You believed someone was angry, only to discover they were tired. You feared that one mistake had destroyed everything, but life continued. You spent hours preparing for a painful outcome that never came. The danger was not always in the situation. Much of it was created by the meaning your mind placed upon it. Still, you trusted that meaning because it came from inside you. You assumed that if a thought felt powerful, it must be true. But a strong thought is not always an honest thought. Some thoughts are old fears repeating themselves. Some are memories trying to protect you from being hurt again. Some are simply the mind's attempt to explain what it does not understand. When there is no clear answer, an overthinking mind creates one. Sadly, it often creates the answer that hurts you most. They are leaving because I am not enough. They are quiet because I did something wrong. I failed because I am not capable. I feel uncertain, so this must be the wrong choice. These thoughts sound convincing because they are spoken in your own voice. Yet beneath that voice is a deeper belief. If I study everything carefully enough, perhaps I can stop anything painful from happening. That belief keeps your mind busy, but it does not keep your heart safe. No amount of thinking can control every person, prevent every rejection, or guarantee that every decision will succeed. Life will always contain unclear moments. People will sometimes misunderstand you. Plans will change. Some relationships will end without giving you the answer you wanted. Freedom begins when you stop demanding complete certainty before allowing yourself to live. You are allowed to speak without planning every possible reaction. You are allowed to enter a room without measuring your worth against everyone inside it. You are allowed to make a choice before you know exactly how the story will end. Most importantly, you are allowed to be human without constantly explaining yourself to yourself. Its goal is not to silence your mind, it is to change your relationship with it. When a painful thought appears, you do not have to follow it. When doubt enters, you do not have to build a home for it. When your mind creates a dark story, you can pause and ask, do I know this is true, or am I trying to protect myself from uncertainty? That simple question creates distance between you and the fear. It reminds you that you are the person hearing the thought, not the thought itself. Tonight, your mind may try to replay something from your past. It may bring back a mistake, an awkward moment, or a conversation you wish you could change. When it does, notice what happens. See how quickly one memory becomes an attack on your entire identity. Then tell yourself the truth. That moment is part of my life, but it is not the definition of my life. You do not need to win an argument with your mind. You only need to stop believing every accusation it makes. The mind that watches everything is not your enemy. It learned to stay alert for a reason. Somewhere along the way, it began to believe that constant attention could protect you from rejection, regret, and pain. It has been trying to protect you for so long that it has forgotten how to let you feel free. And beneath all the overthinking, self-doubt, and endless examination, there is an invisible pattern quietly controlling what you say, what you avoid, whom you trust, and how much of yourself you allow the world to see. Chapter 2. The hidden rule running your life. The hidden pattern is not simply that you think too much. It is that you believe every change around you requires a change in you. When someone becomes quiet, you search for what you did wrong. When their energy changes, you change your behavior. When they seem distant, you try harder to become easier to love. Before you even know what happened, you are fixing a problem that may not belong to you. This pattern is so quiet that it can look like kindness. You tell yourself that you are being thoughtful. You do not want to upset anyone. You want to understand people, avoid conflict, and keep your relationships safe. But beneath that care is an invisible rule. If I can understand everything, control my reactions, and become what people need, I will not be rejected. That rule may never be spoken aloud, yet it can control your entire life. It decides when you stay silent. It chooses which feelings you hide. It makes you apologize when you did nothing wrong. It convinces you to explain yourself again and again, hoping that the right words will stop someone from misunderstanding you. You begin carrying responsibility for everyone's emotions. If someone is disappointed, you feel guilty. If someone is angry, you feel unsafe. If someone pulls away, you search yourself for a reason. Even when another person behaves unfairly, your first question is often not, "Why did they treat me this way?" It is, "What did I do to make them treat me this way?" Without noticing it, you make yourself the cause of everything. This may give you a strange feeling of control. If everything is your fault, then perhaps everything can be fixed by changing yourself. You can speak more carefully, become more useful, expect less, forgive faster, and need nothing. But this kind of control comes at a painful price. To keep other people comfortable, you slowly become uncomfortable being yourself. Consider what happens when you want to say no. The answer may be clear inside you, but your mind immediately creates a long list of possible consequences. They may think I am selfish, they may become angry, they may stop asking me, they may leave. So you say yes while something inside you becomes smaller. You give your time when you need rest. You offer support when you are already emotionally empty. You remain available to people who disappear when you need them. Then you feel hurt, but instead of admitting that the situation is unfair, you blame yourself for expecting anything in return. The same pattern appears when you need to speak honestly. You begin forming the sentence in your mind, but before the words leave your mouth, you imagine every way they could be misunderstood. You soften the truth, remove the difficult parts, and make your pain sound smaller. By the time you finally speak, the real message is gone. Then people say, "I did not know you felt that way." Of course they did not know. You became so skilled at hiding your needs that even those closest to you could not see them. This is one of the deepest struggles of highly self-aware people. You can understand everyone's behavior so well that you start excusing what is hurting you. Someone ignores your feelings, but you remember that they had a difficult past. Someone keeps disappointing you, but you tell yourself they are under pressure. Someone speaks to you without respect, but you think about everything they may be going through. Understanding becomes a reason to remain where you are not valued. Compassion is beautiful, but compassion without boundaries becomes permission. Understanding why someone hurts you does not mean you must continue giving them access to you. Their pain may explain their behavior, but it does not make the behavior harmless. Still, the hidden rule tells you to be patient, try again, explain better, give more, wait longer. So you stay in situations that your heart has already outgrown. You may also search constantly for reassurance. You ask someone whether everything is okay, and they say yes. For a few minutes you feel calm. Then your mind notices something else. Their voice was too flat. Their reply was too short. Or they did not use the same words they usually use. The fear returns. This happens because reassurance can calm a thought, but it cannot heal the belief beneath it. If you secretly believe that people will leave when you disappoint them, No answer will feel safe for long. You will always need another sign, another message, another promise. Even love can feel uncertain when you do not feel secure inside yourself. Sometimes the pattern does not make you chase people. Sometimes it makes you disappear first. You feel a change in someone, assume rejection is coming, and begin pulling away. You reply less, you become cold, you pretend you no longer care. You tell yourself you are protecting your dignity, but deep inside, you are trying to escape the pain of being left. You leave emotionally before the other person has made any decision. Later, you may call this independence. Yet true independence does not require you to hide your heart. It allows you to care without losing yourself, to love without begging, and to face uncertainty without destroying the connection in your mind. This hidden pattern also affects your decisions. You may spend so much time trying to choose perfectly that you make no choice at all. You imagine every possible mistake, every future regret, and every opinion people may have about you. The decision becomes heavier each time you examine it. You wait to feel completely certain before taking action, but complete certainty rarely comes. The opportunity passes, the moment changes, and you remain in the same place. Then you criticize yourself for not moving. This creates a painful cycle. Fear makes you delay, delay creates regret, and regret makes you trust yourself even less. The more you doubt yourself, the more you depend on your thoughts to find the perfect answer. But the more you think, the more possibilities you see. Every answer creates another question. Every plan reveals another risk. Your intelligence begins building the walls that keep you trapped. The hidden pattern is always the same. You notice something, assume it may be dangerous, make it personal, and then change yourself to feel safe. Someone becomes quiet. You assume they are upset. You decide you caused it. Then you speak less, apologize, over-explain, or try to win their warmth back. Notice what is missing from that process. The truth. You did not ask what happened. You did not wait for clear evidence. You did not consider that another person's mood may have nothing to do with you. Your fear created a story, and your behavior responded as though the story were already proven. This is how a thought becomes a pattern, and a pattern becomes a life. The first step toward freedom is not forcing your mind to become silent. It is learning to recognize the hidden rule before you obey it. When someone's mood changes, pause before changing yourself. When fear tells you to apologize, ask whether you actually did something wrong. When you feel the need to explain yourself repeatedly, ask whether the other person is confused or simply unwilling to understand. When someone pulls away, do not immediately chase them. Let their actions give you information. Your job is not to convince everyone to see your value. Your job is to notice who treats your value with care. This pause may feel uncomfortable because the old pattern wants immediate action. It wants you to send the message, fix the tension, remove the uncertainty, and make sure everyone is pleased with you. But discomfort is not always a sign that something is wrong. Sometimes it is the feeling of an old habit losing control. Let the message remain unsent for a while. Let someone be disappointed with your honest boundary. Let a question remain unanswered until reality provides more information. Let people carry their own emotions instead of rushing to carry them for them. You will begin to discover something powerful. Many of the disasters your mind predicts never happen. And if someone rejects you because you expressed a reasonable need, told the truth, or protected your peace, their rejection did not reduce your worth. It revealed the limit of what that relationship could hold. Real freedom begins when you stop asking, "How must I change so this person will choose me?" and begin asking, "Who do I become when I am constantly trying to earn what should be given freely?" That question may hurt, because it reveals how often you have abandoned yourself to avoid being abandoned by someone else. You have called it love. You have called it patience. You have called it understanding. But sometimes it was fear, a quiet fear that told you being fully yourself would cost you connection. So you became smaller, softer, quieter, and easier to accept. You learned to read every room before allowing yourself to exist inside it. A pattern this powerful did not begin yesterday. Long before you called it overthinking, your mind learned that watching closely, pleasing others, and expecting danger might protect you from being hurt. To understand why your mind refuses to rest, you must look beyond the thoughts and find the moment when being yourself first began to feel unsafe. Chapter 3. When being yourself stopped feeling safe. You were not always this afraid of getting things wrong. There was a time when you spoke without replaying every sentence. You laughed without wondering how you looked. You trusted your feelings before asking whether they were acceptable. You entered the world openly because you had not yet learned to examine every part of yourself. Then, little by little, something changed. Perhaps you were often told that you were too emotional, too quiet, too sensitive, too difficult, or too much. Maybe people laughed when you expressed yourself honestly. Maybe someone you trusted used your weakness against you. Perhaps love felt warm one day and cold the next, leaving you to study every small change so you could prepare for what was coming. It does not always begin with one terrible event. Sometimes it begins with many small moments that quietly teach the same lesson. Be careful. Being yourself may cost you love. A child who grows up around changing moods becomes very good at reading a room. They notice the sound of footsteps, the force behind a closing door, and the silence between two people. They learn when to speak, when to disappear, and when to become helpful. That awareness may begin as protection. If you could understand what everyone was feeling, perhaps you could avoid conflict. If you could be quiet enough, useful enough, or good enough, perhaps no one would become disappointed with you. If you could sense trouble before it arrived, perhaps it would hurt less. This ability may have made you seem mature. People may have praised you for being responsible, calm, or understanding. What they did not see was the fear beneath that maturity. You were not always calm because you felt safe. Sometimes you were calm because you did not believe there was room for your feelings. You learned to hold your tears until you were alone. You swallowed questions because asking them could create tension. You apologized quickly, even when you were confused about what you had done. You became skilled at making yourself easier for other people to handle. The world may have called this good behavior. Inside you, it felt like staying protected. Perhaps your childhood was loving, but your feelings were not always understood. The people around you may have cared deeply and still lacked the ability to listen. They may have tried their best while carrying pain of their own. This is not about blaming anyone. It is about recognizing what your mind learned. A person does not need to be cruel to teach you that your emotions are inconvenient. Sometimes they only need to change the subject every time you are hurting. They may tell you to stop crying, be grateful, stay strong, or forget about it. Their words may sound harmless, but the message you receive is clear. Your difficult feelings make other people uncomfortable. So you begin hiding them. When sadness appears, you question whether you have the right to feel sad. When anger rises, you immediately feel guilty. When something hurts you, you search for reasons why it should not hurt. Instead of listening to your emotions, you put them on trial. This is one reason deep thinkers often struggle to trust themselves. You may understand exactly what you feel, yet still believe you need permission to feel it. You wait for another person to confirm that your pain is real before allowing yourself to respect it. If they deny what happened, you begin doubting your own experience. Maybe it was not that bad. Maybe I misunderstood. Maybe I am too sensitive. Maybe I expected too much. These questions can sound fair, but when they appear every time someone hurts you, they become a way of leaving yourself alone in your own pain. The pattern may also have begun with rejection. Perhaps you once showed someone your real personality, your deepest hopes, or your most honest feelings, and they pulled away. Maybe a friend replaced you, someone you loved chose another person, or a group made you feel that you did not belong. The rejection did more than hurt your heart. It made your mind search for an explanation. What was wrong with me? That question can follow you for years. Instead of seeing rejection as one person's decision, one relationship's ending, or one painful moment, you may have treated it as evidence about your worth. You studied your personality, appearance, words, and behavior, searching for the part of yourself that made them leave. You thought that if you found the flaw, you could remove it and make sure rejection never happened again, so you became more careful. You revealed less. You waited for others to show interest before showing your own. You watched their reactions closely and adjusted yourself to keep the connection alive. But love built on constant adjustment never feels safe, because the person receiving love is not meeting the whole you. They are meeting the version of you created to avoid losing them. This creates a painful confusion. You may be surrounded by people and still wonder whether anyone would stay if they saw your full truth. They love your patience, your support, and the way you understand them. But would they love your boundaries, your needs, and your honest disagreement? Because you have hidden those parts for so long, even you may not know the answer. Past disappointment can create the same fear. Perhaps you once trusted your judgment and made a choice that ended badly. You followed your heart, accepted an opportunity, or believed someone's promise, and later regretted it. Your mind took that pain and created a new rule: never make another mistake. From then on, every decision became a test of your intelligence. You stopped asking, "What feels right for me?" and began asking, "How can I make sure nothing goes wrong?" But no choice can carry that promise. Every path contains uncertainty. Every relationship contains risk. Every meaningful goal gives you the possibility of failure. When you demand a guarantee from life, you remain frozen while waiting for an answer life cannot give. The painful part is that your mind believes it is helping. It remembers what happened before and tries to stop the same pain from returning. It brings old memories into new situations and warns you to be careful. A late reply feels like the beginning of abandonment. A disagreement feels like the end of love. A mistake feels like the start of another failure. The present moment becomes covered by the shadow of the past. This is why you may react strongly to things that appear small to other people. You are not only responding to what is happening now, your mind is responding to every similar moment it remembers. One person becomes quiet, but inside you, many old silences return. One person criticizes you, but inside you, every past voice joins them. One person walks away, but the pain feels much larger than one goodbye. The moment touches an older wound, and suddenly you are no longer seeing only what is in front of you. You are fighting everything that came before it. Still, there is an important truth you must understand. What protected you in the past may be limiting you now. Reading every mood may once have helped you avoid conflict. Today, it may make you assume responsibility for emotions that are not yours. Hiding your needs may once have kept a relationship peaceful. Today, it may prevent anyone from knowing the real you. Thinking through every possible danger may once have made you feel prepared. Today, it may be keeping you from taking the risks required to grow. Your mind did not create these habits because you were weak. It created them because it was trying to keep you connected, accepted, and protected. But protection becomes a prison when it never allows you to leave the hiding place. You may still be living by rules created during a time when you had less power. Back then, you may not have been able to walk away, speak freely, choose different people, or protect your own peace. Now you can. But part of your mind has not understood that yet. It still acts as though one person's disappointment can destroy your safety. It believes disagreement will always lead to rejection. It warns you that setting a boundary will make you unlovable. That is why change requires more than positive thinking. You cannot simply tell yourself to stop overthinking and expect years of protection to disappear. You must show yourself through new choices that you are no longer trapped in those old moments. Each time you speak honestly and survive someone's disappointment, you teach yourself that truth is not dangerous. Each time you allow someone to misunderstand you without chasing them, you prove that your peace does not depend on controlling their opinion. Each time you make a decision without complete certainty, you learn that a mistake can become a lesson instead of a life sentence. Each time you leave a place that does not respect you, you remind yourself that rejection is not the end of your story. This is how self-trust begins to return, not through one perfect thought, but through repeated proof that you can stand beside yourself. You do not have to hate who you became in order to grow beyond it. The quiet, careful person inside you was trying to protect something precious. That part of you deserves understanding, but it no longer needs complete control. You can thank the old version of yourself for surviving without allowing that version to decide your future. The child who learned to read every room is no longer powerless. The person who was rejected is no longer defined by the one who walked away. The person who made a painful mistake is not forbidden from choosing again. You are standing in a different place now, even if your thoughts still sound like the past. The old pattern says, "Stay small and you will stay safe." Your life is asking you to learn a stronger truth. Stay true to yourself, and you will stop needing safety from people who only accept your silence. But before that freedom can become real, you must see exactly what the old pattern has taken from you. Because the greatest cost of overthinking is not the time spent inside your head. It is the life, love, confidence and peace that remain outside while you are afraid to step forward. Chapter 4. The life you are losing inside your head. The greatest cost of overthinking is not the noise in your mind. It is how quietly your life becomes smaller while no one notices. From the outside, everything may appear normal. You wake up, complete your responsibilities, answer messages, and do what people expect. You may even smile, laugh, and help others through their problems. But inside, much of your energy is being spent on battles that no one can see. You are trying to understand conversations that have already ended. You are preparing for problems that may never happen. You are carrying words that another person spoke carelessly and forgot within minutes. They moved on. The moment ended. Yet you are still living inside it. This is how overthinking steals time. It rarely takes an entire day at once. It takes 10 minutes after a cold reply, an hour after a small mistake, and a sleepless night after an uncomfortable conversation. It takes the morning you could have enjoyed, the work you could have completed, and the rest your mind needed. Slowly, these stolen moments become weeks, months, and years. You may believe you are thinking because you want an answer, but many times there is no answer to find. Why did they speak that way? What did they really mean? Would everything be different if you had chosen better words? Your mind keeps searching because it believes the right answer will remove the pain. But some questions do not lead to peace. They only lead you deeper into a moment you cannot change. The past cannot hear your new explanation. It cannot accept your apology, answer your questions, or give you another chance to respond. Still, you return to it, hoping that one more night of thinking will create a different ending. It never does. The price is not only your time, it is your ability to be present. You can sit beside someone you love while thinking about someone who hurt you. You can reach a moment you once prayed for and still be unable to enjoy it because you are worried about losing it. You can enter a beautiful place and remain trapped in an ugly memory. Your body arrives, but your mind stays somewhere else. Over time, happiness begins to feel unsafe. The moment something good happens, you search for what could destroy it. When someone treats you well, you question their reasons. When life becomes peaceful, you expect bad news. Instead of receiving the moment, you prepare to lose it. That preparation does not protect you from pain. It only makes you suffer before pain exists. If something does go wrong, you suffer twice. once in your imagination and once in reality. If nothing goes wrong, you still lose the peace that was available to you. Either way, fear takes the moment. The same pattern affects your relationships. When you constantly search for hidden meanings, you stop hearing what people are actually saying. You hear their words through the voice of your past. A simple "I am busy" may sound like you are no longer important. A request for space may sound like "I am leaving you." A disagreement may feel like proof that love is ending. Then you react to the meaning you created instead of the truth you were given. You may become distant, ask for reassurance repeatedly, or explain yourself when no explanation was needed. The other person becomes confused because they are responding to the present while you are fighting a fear from the past. Healthy love becomes difficult when every change feels like danger. Sometimes this fear makes you hold people too tightly. Other times, it makes you keep everyone at a safe distance. You want connection, but you are afraid of what connection can cost. You open the door, then stand behind it. You share a feeling, then regret being honest. You begin trusting someone, then search for reasons to stop. You want to be known, but when someone comes close, you fear they will discover a reason to leave. So you give people pieces of yourself and wonder why you still feel unseen. They may know your habits, your humor, and the way you help others, but they may not know what frightens you, what you need, or how deeply certain things affect you. You hide those parts because you believe they are too heavy. Then you feel lonely because no one is carrying them with you. That loneliness does not always mean no one loves you. Sometimes it means you have never allowed yourself to be fully present inside the love you receive. Overthinking can also keep you attached to people who are no longer choosing you. Instead of accepting their actions, you search for a kinder explanation. Maybe they are confused. Maybe they are afraid. Maybe they need time. Maybe if you become more patient, they will finally see what you offer. Hope can be beautiful, but hope without truth becomes a waiting room. You wait for the apology, the message, the change, or the final conversation that will make everything clear. Your life remains emotionally connected to someone who has already stopped showing up. You call it needing closure, but sometimes closure is simply the moment you stop asking a closed door to explain why it will not open. The longer you wait for another person to free you, the longer you give them control over your peace. There is also a price in the way you see yourself. Every time you doubt a reasonable feeling, ignore your own limit, or say yes when your heart is saying no, you send yourself a message, "I do not trust you." At first, these moments seem small. You stay quiet to avoid conflict. You allow one more disrespectful comment. You give one more chance. You accept one more excuse. But self-betrayal does not always arrive as one great decision. It often happens through small acts, repeated so often that you no longer recognize your own voice. Eventually, you need other people to tell you what you feel. You ask whether you have the right to be upset. You ask whether your boundary is reasonable. You ask whether leaving is selfish. Advice can be useful, but no one else lives inside your consequences. They do not carry the weight of your yes. They do not lose sleep after you ignore your own truth. When you repeatedly choose their comfort over your peace, resentment begins to grow. You may not express it because you do not want to appear difficult. Instead, it comes out through distance, tiredness, sudden anger, or the feeling that nobody gives you what you give them. But people cannot respect a boundary you never show them. They cannot understand a need you always hide. They cannot know where your limit is if you move it every time they reach it. Silence may prevent an argument today, but it can create a deeper separation tomorrow. The cost also appears in your goals. How many ideas have you delayed because you feared not doing them perfectly? How many opportunities have you refused because you worried about looking foolish? How many times have you waited for confidence before taking the step that would have created confidence? You may have convinced yourself that you need more preparation, another plan, more knowledge, a better time. Sometimes preparation is wise. But endless preparation can be fear pretending to be discipline. You keep improving the plan because starting would expose you to judgment. As long as the dream remains inside your mind, it cannot fail. It stays perfect, safe, and untouched. But it also stays unreal. Meanwhile, someone less prepared begins. They make mistakes in public, learn from them, and continue moving. You watch them achieve what you once imagined, and a painful voice asks, "Why not me?" The answer is not that they were always more talented. Often they were simply willing to be seen before they felt ready. Overthinking demands that you become perfect before you begin. Life asks only that you become brave enough to take the first honest step. Perfection promises protection, but it creates delay. Every day you wait to feel ready. You train yourself to believe that fear has the final word. Your confidence does not disappear because you lack ability. It weakens because you repeatedly show yourself that doubt can stop you. Each avoided conversation teaches you that honesty is too dangerous. Each delayed decision teaches you that you cannot handle uncertainty. Each abandoned goal teaches you that fear is stronger than desire. Then you look at your life and wonder why you no longer trust yourself. Self-trust is not built by thinking about what you might do. It is built when your actions show that you will not leave yourself behind when a moment becomes uncomfortable. There is another cost that is even harder to see: the loss of your natural personality. When you are constantly observing yourself, you become less spontaneous. Before you laugh, speak, disagree, or show excitement, part of you checks whether it is safe. Every honest reaction must pass through the guard inside your mind. Will they think I am strange? Am I being too loud? Did I say too much? Should I act more serious? By the time your true response receives permission, the moment has passed. You may become the version of yourself that creates the least trouble: calm, agreeable, useful, and easy to understand. People may like this version, but their approval does not reach your heart because you know how much of yourself was removed to receive it. You begin to wonder whether they love you or only the mask that never asks for anything. A life built around being accepted can leave you unable to recognize yourself. You may know what everyone else expects, but not what you want. You may understand what makes others comfortable, but not what makes you feel alive. You may have spent so many years adjusting that silence is the only place where you feel real. Even there, the inner critic follows you. It reminds you of everything unfinished. It compares your progress with other people. It tells you that you should be stronger, more successful, more confident, and further ahead by now. Rest begins to feel like failure. You may be physically still while mentally proving that you deserve to exist. This is why sleep does not always make you feel rested. The deepest exhaustion is not only in the body. It comes from constantly managing your image, your emotions, other people's reactions, and every possible future. No one can remain peaceful while trying to control that much. Perhaps the hardest price is that you begin living as though your real life will begin later. You tell yourself you will feel free when you understand the past, when the right person chooses you, when everyone approves, when you stop making mistakes, or when your mind finally becomes quiet. But later keeps moving. One problem ends, and your mind finds another. One answer arrives, and a new question appears. One fear disappears, and another takes its place. If you wait for your mind to remove every uncertainty, you will wait forever. Life does not begin after all fear disappears. It is happening now, during the uncertainty. It is happening while your voice shakes, while some questions remain unanswered, and while other people misunderstand your choices. The goal is not to create a life where nothing hurts. Such a life does not exist. The goal is to become someone who can feel pain without turning it into proof of personal failure. You can survive being disliked. You can survive making the wrong choice. You can survive discovering that someone was not who you hoped they would be. What is much harder to recover is the time spent refusing to live because you were afraid of what living might bring. Look honestly at the price you are paying. not to shame yourself, not to create another reason for self-attack. Look because truth is the beginning of change. Where have you become smaller to stay accepted? Which decision have you delayed because you want a guarantee? Which relationship survives only because you keep ignoring what it costs you? What part of yourself have you hidden because someone once made you feel that it was too much? These questions are uncomfortable because they move the problem out of your mind and place it in your life. It is easier to say, "I overthink," than to admit, "I keep abandoning what matters to me because I am afraid." It is easier to say, "I need more time," than to admit, "I am waiting for fear to give me permission." It is easier to say, "I understand them," than to admit, "I am using their pain to excuse the way they continue hurting me." Honesty may sting, but it does not destroy you. It removes the stories that have kept you trapped. You cannot recover every moment the pattern has taken. You cannot return to every door you were afraid to open or reclaim every word you swallowed, but you still have the moment in front of you. The life you thought you had lost is not completely gone. It has been waiting beneath the fear, beneath the self-doubt, and beneath the version of you created to keep everyone else comfortable. You do not need another year of understanding why you feel trapped. At some point, understanding must become a decision to stop treating every thought as a command, a decision to stop calling self-abandonment kindness, a decision to accept that freedom may disappoint people who benefited from your fear. The old pattern has already shown you its price. Now the question is no longer whether change will feel uncomfortable. The real question is how much more of your life you are willing to lose before you finally choose yourself. Chapter 5. The day you stop asking fear for permission. Andrew shown that choosing yourself sounds beautiful until your choice disappoints someone. It sounds powerful until you must say no without creating a long explanation. It sounds freeing until you stop chasing a person and have to sit with the silence they leave behind. It sounds easy until your old fears tell you that protecting your peace will make you lonely. This is where real change begins, not when you feel inspired, but when your old pattern asks you to return and you refuse. For years, fear may have been making decisions while using your voice. It said, "Wait a little longer." It said, "Do not upset them." It said, "Think about it one more time." It said, "You can begin when you feel more confident," because the voice came from inside you. You believed it was wisdom, but wisdom helps you see reality clearly. Fear keeps changing the meaning of reality until hiding feels like the safest choice. You already know where hiding leads. You have seen what happens when you ignore your needs, delay your goals, and make yourself smaller to keep people close. Another year of thinking about the pattern will not break it. At some point, you must decide that understanding your fear is no longer enough. You must stop allowing it to lead. This does not mean you will never overthink again. It does not mean you will suddenly feel fearless or completely certain. It means fear can speak, but it no longer receives the final vote. That is the turning point. Many people wait for a powerful feeling before they change. They believe one perfect morning will arrive when they wake up confident, clear, and ready. On that day, they will set the boundary, start the work, leave the harmful situation, or finally speak honestly. But transformation rarely begins with confidence. It usually begins with discomfort. You take the step while your mind is still asking you to wait. You tell the truth while your voice is still unsteady. You stop chasing even though part of you wants one more answer. Confidence comes later. First comes the decision. Motivation is a feeling, and feelings change. A powerful message may inspire you tonight, but tomorrow the old habits will still know your name. They will return when you feel lonely, tired, rejected, or uncertain. Real change cannot depend on whether you feel strong that day. It must rest on something deeper, a promise you refuse to break. The promise is simple. I will no longer abandon myself to escape temporary discomfort. Read that promise carefully. It does not say you will always make perfect choices. It does not say you will never feel confused or afraid. It says that when fear appears, you will not immediately leave your truth behind. You will pause before apologizing for something that was not wrong. You will listen to your own limit before agreeing to another demand. You will ask whether a relationship is healthy for you, not only whether you can keep it alive. For perhaps the first time, your peace will become part of the decision. This may feel selfish because you have been trained to measure your goodness by how much discomfort you can carry for other people. You may believe that being loving means always being available, forgiving quickly, and asking for little. But love without self-respect becomes exhaustion. Forgiveness without change becomes permission. Patience without a limit becomes a place where your life disappears. Choosing yourself does not mean you stop caring about others. It means caring about others no longer requires you to betray yourself. You can be kind and still say no. You can understand someone's pain and still refuse their harmful behavior. You can love a person and accept that they are not healthy for your future. Two truths can exist at the same time. Someone can matter to you, and distance can still be necessary. A person can have good qualities and still treat you in ways you should not accept. You can miss them and still choose not to return. Maturity is not forcing every relationship to survive. Sometimes it is accepting what a relationship continues to cost. The old version of you may have believed that leaving meant failure. So you stayed, explained, waited, and gave chance after chance. You hoped your loyalty would teach other people how to value you, but loyalty cannot create character in someone who refuses responsibility. Your patience cannot do another person's growing for them. Your love cannot force them to become honest, consistent, or respectful. Eventually, staying stops being proof of love and becomes proof that you are afraid to face the ending. An ending may hurt, but not every ending is a loss. Some endings return your energy, some give your voice back, some close the door through which your peace kept escaping. The turning point comes when you stop judging every ending by how painful it feels and begin judging it by what it makes possible. Perhaps letting go makes space for peace. Perhaps saying no protects the time needed to build your future. Perhaps being misunderstood frees you from spending your life performing for people who never tried to know you. You have spent enough time asking, "What will I lose if I choose myself?" Begin asking, "What have I already lost by refusing to?" Look at the dreams you keep delaying. Look at the conversations you avoid. Look at the people whose approval has become more important than your honesty. How much of your future must be sacrificed to keep the present comfortable? A painful truth must now be faced. No one is coming to give you permission to become free. The person who benefits from your silence may never encourage you to speak. The person who benefits from your weak boundaries may call you selfish when those boundaries become strong. The person who enjoys receiving your effort may become distant when you ask for equal care. Do not confuse their disappointment with proof that you are wrong. Sometimes people react badly because your growth changes the role they expected you to play. They were comfortable with the version of you who always answered, always forgave, and always returned. When that version begins to disappear, they may say you have changed. They will be right. You are changing from someone who begs to be understood into someone who understands themselves. You are changing from someone who fears losing everyone into someone who refuses to lose themselves. Growth will not make every person happy. It will reveal who can love you without controlling you. This is why the turning point can feel lonely. You may outgrow certain conversations, habits, and relationships before your new life has fully formed. The old world no longer feels right, but the new one is not yet familiar. Many people turn back in this space. They mistake loneliness for a wrong decision. They miss what was familiar and call it love. They feel the pain of change and assume the old pain was safer. But familiar pain is still pain. Going back may bring quick relief because the uncertainty ends. You send the message, remove the boundary, accept the excuse, or return to the habit. For a moment, your mind becomes quiet. Then the same emptiness returns. You are not weak because part of you misses what hurt you. The mind often prefers a known struggle to an unknown future. It knows how to survive the old pattern. Freedom asks you to become someone new. Do not use one lonely evening to cancel a decision made after years of pain. Let the discomfort speak without allowing it to decide. Say to yourself, I can miss what was familiar without returning to what was harmful. That is strength, not the absence of emotion, but the ability to feel an emotion without becoming its servant. The same is true of your goals. You may decide to begin something important, then wake up the next day without the same excitement. Doubt returns and tells you that the idea was foolish. This is the moment when motivation ends and identity begins. Anyone can act when they feel inspired. The person you are becoming learns to act when the feeling is gone. They take one small step because their future matters more than today's mood. You do not need to complete everything at once. You need to stop teaching yourself that fear can always delay the beginning. Send the application. Write the first page. Make the call. Speak the truth. Take the walk. Complete the task you keep moving to tomorrow. The size of the action matters less than the message it sends. My life will no longer wait for my fear to disappear. Each honest action becomes evidence. It shows that you can feel uncertainty and still move. It teaches your mind that discomfort is not the same as danger. This is how self-trust returns. Self-trust does not mean believing that every choice will work. It means believing that even if something goes wrong, you will not turn against yourself. You will learn instead of calling yourself a failure. You will adjust instead of destroying your confidence. You will face the result without using it as proof that you never should have tried. The old version of you demanded perfect decisions because mistakes felt like shame. The new version understands that a wrong turn is not the end of the journey. A person who trusts themselves does not always know the answer. They simply know they will remain on their own side while finding it. That changes everything. You no longer need every person to agree with your choice. You listen to advice, consider the facts, and then accept responsibility for your own direction. You stop passing your life from hand to hand, hoping someone else will tell you what is right. Other people may see parts of the situation, but only you carry the full cost of remaining where you are. There will be moments when your decision feels cruel simply because it is unfamiliar. When you have spent years pleasing others, self-respect can feel like guilt. Do not mistake guilt for wrongdoing. Sometimes guilt is only the feeling of breaking an old rule. The rule said you must keep everyone comfortable. The rule said your needs should come last. The rule said being loved matters more than being respected. You are allowed to break rules that were built from fear. Let people manage their reactions. Their feelings matter, but they are not yours to control. You can speak with respect and still allow them to be disappointed. You do not have to become cold. You only have to become clear. Clear about what you accept, clear about what you need, clear about where your responsibility ends and another person's responsibility begins. Clarity removes the endless arguments inside your mind. Instead of asking whether everyone will approve, you ask whether your choice agrees with your values. Does this decision respect my time? Does this relationship respect my dignity? Does this action move me toward the person I want to become? These questions do not guarantee an easy answer, but they return the authority to you. For years, your awareness has been pointed outward. You studied every face, silence, and reaction. Now it must be brought home. Notice the moment you are about to betray yourself. Notice the fear behind the automatic yes. Notice when you begin writing a long explanation because a simple truth feels dangerous. Then pause. Inside that pause, two versions of you will speak. The old version will say, "Keep the peace, do not risk losing them, wait until you are certain." The emerging version will say, My truth deserves a place in my own life. The voice you follow becomes the person you strengthen. Every choice is a vote for your identity. Each time you protect your boundary, complete a promise, or refuse to chase someone who offers confusion, you vote for the person who respects themselves. Each time you return to the old pattern, you vote for fear. But even if you choose fear today, tomorrow gives you another vote. Change is not destroyed by one weak moment. It is destroyed only when you turn one weak moment into a reason to give up. You do not need to hate yourself back into discipline. Shame created part of this burden. It cannot be the tool that sets you free. Be honest without being cruel. If you return to the old habit, ask what pulled you back. Loneliness? Guilt? A need for reassurance? Then prepare for that moment differently next time. The goal is not to punish the old version of you. The goal is to stop letting that version control the future. Perhaps you have been waiting for someone to apologize before you move on. Maybe you believe their apology will return your dignity, but your dignity never entered their hands. An apology may bring understanding, but it cannot restore time. It cannot undo what happened. It cannot make another person's growth your responsibility. You can move forward without receiving the words you deserved. Perhaps you have been waiting to forgive yourself. You believe you need to feel innocent before you can begin again. But self-forgiveness is not pretending you did nothing wrong. It is refusing to make one wrong choice the only truth about who you are. Take responsibility, repair what can be repaired, learn what must be learned, and then stop using the past as a place to punish yourself. You are allowed to become wiser than the person who made the mistake. The turning point is not loud. There may be no audience, celebration, or perfect speech. It may happen late at night when you choose not to send the message. It may happen in an ordinary room when you finally say, "This no longer works for me." It may happen when you begin the task you have avoided for months, or when you look into the mirror and decide that your own respect is no longer open for negotiation. Nothing outside you may change immediately, but the center of your life has shifted. Fear is no longer the leader. Approval is no longer the prize. Avoiding pain is no longer your highest goal. Your new goal is to live honestly, even when honesty brings uncertainty. Make the decision now. You will no longer use your intelligence to create reasons to remain trapped. You will use it to recognize what is true, choose what respects you, and move toward the life you keep saying you want. The decision will not remove every difficult thought. It will give you a direction when those thoughts return, and they will return. That is why a turning point cannot remain only a powerful moment. A decision opens the door, but daily practice teaches you how to walk through it. Freedom must now become something you do. Chapter 6. The practice that brings you back to yourself. A decision can change your direction, but only practice can change the way you live. You may decide today that you will stop overthinking, protect your peace, and trust yourself. Then tomorrow, someone replies with a cold message, and every old fear returns at once. Your mind begins creating stories. Your body becomes tense. You feel a strong need to fix the situation immediately. This does not mean your decision failed. It means you have reached the moment when the decision must become a practice. Old patterns do not disappear because you understand them. They weaken when you respond differently each time they appear. For years, your mind has followed the same path. Something happens, fear creates a meaning, and you react to that meaning. The process moves so quickly that it feels automatic. Someone becomes quiet. You assume they are upset. You decide you caused it. Then you apologize, over-explain, chase, or withdraw. To create a new life, you need a new path. You need a simple way to return to reality before fear begins making decisions. Call it the clear practice. Clear means calm yourself, look at the facts, examine the story, act from your values, release the result. These 5 movements can be used during a difficult conversation, an uncertain relationship, an important decision, a painful memory, or any moment when your thoughts begin pulling you away from yourself. The first movement is to calm yourself. When fear rises, your first task is not to solve the entire situation. It is to slow the moment down. Do not send the message immediately. Do not make a final decision while your emotions are at their loudest. Do not write a long explanation just because silence feels uncomfortable. Place your feet firmly on the floor. Take a slow breath. Look around the room and remind yourself where you are. Give the feeling a few moments to pass through you without turning it into an action. This is not weakness or avoidance. It is self-control. A calm response is not the same as a delayed reaction. When you pause, you create space between what happened and what you do next. Inside that space, you recover your power. Suppose someone you care about has not replied for several hours. Your mind immediately says, "They are ignoring me. I must have done something wrong. They are losing interest." The old pattern tells you to send another message, check whether they are online, reread the last conversation, and search for your mistake. The clear practice begins by doing nothing for a moment. You breathe and tell yourself, "I feel afraid, but I do not need to act from fear." Notice that you are not saying everything is fine. You do not yet know what is happening. You are simply refusing to treat uncertainty as an emergency. Calming yourself does not remove the feeling. It stops the feeling from taking control of your hands, your words, and your decisions. The second movement is to look at the facts. Fear speaks in conclusions. Reality speaks in details. The conclusion says, "They do not care about me." The fact says, "They have not replied for several hours." The conclusion says, "I ruined everything." The fact says, "I made one mistake." The conclusion says, "Everyone thinks I am foolish." The fact says, "One person disagreed with me." Facts are often much smaller than the stories surrounding them. Ask yourself, what do I know for certain? This question brings you out of imagination and back into the present. It separates what happened from what you fear it means. Perhaps someone gave you a short reply. That is the fact. You do not yet know whether they are angry, tired, busy, distracted, or thinking about something completely unrelated to you. Your mind may argue, "But I can feel that something is wrong." A feeling can tell you that you are uncomfortable. It cannot always tell you why. Respect the feeling, but investigate the conclusion. Looking at the facts protects you from reacting to a story as though it were proven truth. It also helps you recognize when something is genuinely wrong. This practice is not about ignoring clear behavior. If someone repeatedly disrespects you, breaks promises, disappears, and returns only when they need something, those are facts too. Do not use positive thinking to hide from a pattern that reality has shown you many times. Clarity works in both directions. It stops you from creating danger where there is none, and it stops you from creating excuses where danger is clear. The third movement is to examine the story. After identifying the facts, ask, what meaning is my mind adding? Maybe the fact is that a friend cancelled a plan. The story is, nobody wants to spend time with me. Maybe the fact is that your work received criticism. The story is, I am not talented enough to succeed. Maybe the fact is that a relationship ended. The story is, I will always be alone. One event cannot prove such a large conclusion. But when an event touches an old fear, your mind may connect the two immediately. This is where you must become curious instead of cruel. Do not say, I am stupid for thinking this way. Ask, what is this thought trying to protect me from? Perhaps it is trying to protect you from rejection. Perhaps it is warning you not to repeat an old mistake. Perhaps it believes that expecting the worst will make disappointment easier. Thank the thought for trying to protect you. Then remind it that protection is not the same as truth. You might say, I understand why I am afraid. This moment feels similar to something that hurt me before. But similar does not mean identical. I will respond to what is happening now. That sentence is powerful because it respects your past without allowing the past to control the present. You are not fighting your mind, you are teaching it that this moment deserves to be seen clearly. Suppose you make a mistake during an important task. Your first story may be, "I always fail when something matters. I am not capable." Pause and examine it. The fact is that you made one mistake. The story takes that mistake and turns it into your identity. A more honest response would be, "I made an error. I may need to correct it, apologize, or learn something new. But this moment does not define my ability." This is not empty encouragement. It is accurate thinking. Overthinking often feels intelligent because it examines every possibility. But intelligence without fairness becomes self-attack. If you consider the worst explanation, you must also consider the reasonable ones. The fourth movement is to act from your values. Once you are calmer, know the facts, and can see the story, ask, what action would respect the person I want to become? Do not ask what action will remove all discomfort. Do not ask what will make everyone happy. Ask what action agrees with your values. If you value honesty, the action may be a clear conversation. If you value self-respect, it may be a boundary. If you value growth, it may be beginning before you feel ready. If you value peace, it may be refusing to continue an argument that has become disrespectful. Your values become a stronger guide than your mood. Consider a situation where someone speaks to you in a hurtful way. Fear may tell you to remain silent because you do not want conflict. Anger may tell you to attack them so they feel what you felt. Neither reaction represents the person you want to become. An action based on your values might sound like this: "I want to continue this conversation, but I will not continue while I am being spoken to this way. We can talk when we are both calmer." That statement is neither weak nor cruel. It protects your dignity without trying to destroy theirs. Now imagine someone asks for your help when you are already exhausted. Your automatic answer is yes, but your honest limit says no. A value-based response could be, "I cannot help with that today." Your mind may immediately demand an explanation. It wants to prove that your no is reasonable, but a respectful no does not need a courtroom. You can add kindness without turning your boundary into a request for permission. "I cannot help today, but I hope you find the support you need." Then stop. Do not keep talking until your no becomes a weak maybe. Acting from your values may feel uncomfortable at first because you are no longer using comfort as your guide. The discomfort does not mean the action is wrong. It may mean the action is new. The fifth movement is to release the result. This may be the hardest part for a deeply self-aware person. You can choose your words carefully, communicate with respect, and make a wise decision, but you cannot control how everyone responds. Someone may misunderstand your boundary. Someone may dislike your honesty. Someone may walk away when you stop doing all the work. Release does not mean you do not care. It means you accept where your power ends. Your responsibility is your behavior. Their reaction belongs to them. If you speak honestly and kindly, you have done your part. Do not spend the next 3 days rewriting the conversation in your head, trying to create words that would have forced a different reaction. No perfect sentence can control another person's character. Sometimes you will communicate badly. When that happens, take responsibility and correct it. But do not apologize merely because someone did not like hearing the truth. There is a difference between causing harm and causing discomfort. A boundary may create discomfort. A disagreement may create discomfort. Your growth may create discomfort for people who were comfortable with your lack of limits. Discomfort alone is not proof that you acted wrongly. Releasing the result also matters when pursuing your goals. You can control whether you begin, practice, and remain consistent. You cannot control exactly when success arrives or how other people judge your effort. If you attach your peace to the result, every slow day will feel like failure. If you attach your peace to your actions, you can respect yourself while the result is still forming. Say to yourself, "My responsibility is the step. The outcome will meet me later." This brings your attention back to what is possible today. The clear practice can happen in a few minutes, but sometimes the situation needs more time. A painful decision may require facts, reflection, and honest advice. The purpose is not to make every decision quickly. It is to stop fear from controlling the process. You can slow down without remaining stuck. Give yourself a clear time to decide. Tell yourself, I will think about this until tomorrow evening. Then I will choose using the information I have. The limit protects reflection from becoming endless overthinking. Without a limit, your mind may repeat the same thoughts for weeks while calling it careful consideration. But repeated thinking is not always deeper thinking. Sometimes it is the same fear walking in circles. When the time arrives, make the best decision available. You are not choosing forever. You are choosing the next honest step. You can adjust later if new information appears. This is another form of self-trust, allowing a decision to be good enough instead of demanding that it be perfect. Use the clear practice with painful memories too. When an old moment returns at night, begin by calming yourself. Remind your body that the event is not happening again. Look at the facts. The memory is from the past, and you are here now. Examine the story attached to it. Perhaps your mind says, that mistake proves I am a bad person, or because they left, I was not worthy of love. Ask whether that conclusion is fair, then act from your values. If you caused harm, perhaps the action is an apology, a repair, or a changed behavior. If nothing can be repaired directly, the action may be learning and refusing to repeat the mistake. Finally, release what cannot be changed. You cannot build a peaceful future while using every night to punish your past self. Responsibility should lead to growth, not endless suffering. You can also create a small daily practice to strengthen the person you are becoming. At the beginning of the day, choose one promise you can keep. Make it small and clear. You might decide to work on an important task for 20 minutes, speak honestly in one conversation, or avoid checking a person's online activity. Keep the promise even when your mood changes. At the end of the day, do not ask whether you were perfect. Ask, where did I stay with myself today? Perhaps you said no without over-explaining. Perhaps you allowed a message to remain unanswered while you calmed down. Perhaps you made a mistake and corrected it without attacking your worth. Recognize that moment. Your mind has spent years collecting evidence that you cannot trust yourself. Now you must intentionally collect evidence that you can. Each small promise becomes proof. There will still be days when the old pattern wins. You may send the message, ignore your limit, or spend hours inside a fearful story. Do not turn one difficult day into a complete return to your old identity. Use the clear practice on the failure itself. Calm down. Look at what happened. Examine the story that says you will never change. Act from your values by correcting what you can. Then release the shame and try again. The way you respond to a setback matters more than the setback. A strong person is not someone who never falls into an old habit. It is someone who notices sooner, returns faster, and refuses to build a home there again. With practice, something begins to change. A cold message still affects you, but it no longer controls your whole day. A person's silence still feels uncomfortable, but you do not immediately blame yourself. A difficult decision still creates fear, but fear no longer prevents movement. The thoughts may continue to knock, but you stop opening the door to every one of them. Your self-awareness begins serving you again. Instead of searching for every possible danger, it helps you notice your needs, values, and limits. Instead of watching yourself with criticism, you begin observing yourself with care. You are still deep, thoughtful, and sensitive. But your depth no longer has to become a place where you drown. Remember the practice. Calm yourself. Look at the facts. Examine the story. Act from your values and release the result. Use it slowly at first. In time, it will become the new path your mind follows. Then one day, you will face a situation that once would have destroyed your peace. You will pause, see clearly, Choose yourself and continue with your day. That quiet moment will show you how far you have come. The practice will have become more than a method. It will have changed your identity. You will no longer be someone who needs every thought to become quiet before feeling free. You will be someone who knows how to remain free while the thoughts are still speaking. Chapter 7. Become the person who never abandons you. The person you must become is not someone who thinks less. It is someone who abandons themselves less. For years, one question may have controlled your relationships. Will they stay? Will they stay if you disappoint them? Will they stay if you disagree? Will they stay if you reveal your needs, your fears, and the parts of you that are not always easy to understand? That question kept your attention on everyone else. You studied their moods, changed your behavior, and waited for signs that you were still accepted. Now a stronger question must take its place. Will I stay with myself, even if they do not? That question changes the center of your life. It does not make rejection painless. It does not mean you will never miss someone or wish a relationship had ended differently. It means another person's departure will no longer become your reason to leave yourself too. When someone misunderstands you, you will not immediately attack your own truth. When someone rejects your boundary, you will not assume that your boundary was wrong. When someone chooses to leave, you will grieve without turning their choice into a judgment of your worth. You will remain beside yourself. This is the identity you must build. For most of your life, you may have believed strength meant needing no one. You tried to become independent enough that nothing could hurt you. You hid your feelings, expected less, and told yourself you were fine. But emotional freedom is not becoming impossible to hurt. It is knowing that pain will not make you betray who you are. A free person can love deeply without begging. They can feel disappointed without losing direction. They can be uncertain without creating a disaster in their mind. Their peace is not based on controlling every outcome. It is based on trusting the person they will be when the outcome arrives. This is the foundation of real confidence. Confidence is not walking into every room believing everyone will admire you. It is entering the room knowing you will remain worthy even if they do not. It is not believing that every decision will succeed. It is knowing that failure will not make you your own enemy. It is not having the perfect words. It is trusting that one awkward moment cannot reduce the value of your voice. When confidence is built on approval, it disappears whenever someone disapproves. When it is built on self-respect, it remains even during misunderstanding. You may still feel nervous. Your mind may still search faces and notice changes, but another voice will now be present, the voice that says, "I do not need to control this room to belong here." That is the voice of inner authority. Inner authority means you listen to yourself without believing you are always right. You remain open to advice, correction, and new information, but you no longer treat every opinion as a command. Someone can disagree with your choice without becoming the owner of it. Someone can question your ability without deciding your future. Someone can misunderstand your heart without changing what you know to be true. You consider what people say, take what is useful, and leave what is not. This may be difficult because you have often confused understanding with surrender. You thought being mature meant seeing everyone's side until your own side disappeared. But your view also deserves a place in the room. Your feelings may not reveal every fact, but they carry information. Your discomfort may show that a limit has been crossed. Your tiredness may reveal that you have given too much. Your anger may point towards something you have remained silent about for too long. Do not blindly obey every emotion, but do not automatically silence it either. Listen, investigate, and then choose with honesty. The new version of you does not say, "Whatever I feel must be true." It says, "Whatever I feel deserves to be understood." Nyförbid i mening des penifa. This creates a healthier form of self-awareness. Instead of watching yourself like a judge, searching for faults, You begin observing yourself like a wise guide searching for truth. A judge asks, "What is wrong with me?" A guide asks, "What is happening inside me, and what does this moment require?" One question creates shame. The other creates direction. The person you are becoming no longer uses awareness to build a case against themselves. They use it to recognize the moment when fear is becoming the leader. They notice the need to over-explain and choose clear words instead. They notice the urge to chase and allow another person's actions to speak. They notice when perfection is delaying an important beginning and take one imperfect step. Naifabid mustadumas, self-awareness becomes useful because it leads to action. This is important. Insight alone does not create a new identity. You can understand every reason behind your behavior and still remain trapped in it. You can know why you fear rejection, why you delay decisions, and why you struggle to trust yourself. But if that knowledge never changes what you do, it becomes another room inside the same prison. The person you must become does not only understand themselves, they lead themselves. Leadership begins in private moments when no one is watching. It appears when you keep a promise that would be easy to break. It appears when you stop a harmful thought before it becomes an entire night of suffering. It appears when you complete the work even though nobody is praising you, and when you protect a boundary even though loneliness is asking you to remove it. These choices may seem small, but identity is built from what you repeatedly do when there is no audience. Every kept promise says, "I can rely on myself." Every honest boundary says, "My peace has value." Every imperfect action says, "Fear does not control my future." This is how you become someone new, not through a sudden personality change, but through quiet proof repeated over time. At first, the new choices may feel unnatural. Saying no may feel cruel. Resting may feel lazy. Allowing someone to misunderstand you may feel dangerous. That discomfort does not mean you are becoming a bad person. It means you are leaving a role you played for too long. You were the one who understood everyone, the one who stayed calm, gave another chance, and carried what others refused to carry. You may have received love, praise, or belonging for performing that role. Walking away from it may create guilt, because part of you still believes your value comes from being needed. But being needed is not the same as being loved. Some people need your silence because it protects them from responsibility. Some need your endless forgiveness because it allows them to avoid change. Some need your availability because they do not want to respect your time. When you stop giving what costs you too much, you discover who values you and who only valued your usefulness. This discovery can hurt. Let it. Painful truth is still safer than comforting confusion. Do not turn the truth into hatred. You do not need to make other people evil to justify protecting yourself. They may have their own fears, limitations, and unfinished growth. You can understand them without returning to a place that harms you. You can forgive without reopening the door. You can wish them well from a distance that allows you to remain well too. That is detachment with dignity. Detachment does not mean becoming cold. It means you stop trying to control what cannot be controlled. You stop forcing people to understand what they are determined to misunderstand. You stop chasing answers from those who only offer confusion. You stop begging inconsistent people to become the source of your security. Their choices become information, not an invitation to prove your worth. Someone who values you may still make mistakes, but they will show a willingness to listen, repair, and grow. Someone who only wants access to you will often resist the moment access requires responsibility. Watch behavior more closely than promises. Deep thinkers can fall in love with potential. You see who a person could become, you understand why they struggle, and you create a future based on changes they have not made. But a relationship must be lived with the person who exists now, not with the person your hope keeps creating. Potential cannot hold you during a difficult night. A future promise cannot replace present respect. Understanding someone's hidden goodness does not remove the effect of their repeated behavior. The person you are becoming accepts people as they show themselves. This does not make you negative, it makes you honest. Honesty protects your energy from endless waiting. It allows you to stop investing in words that actions never support. It teaches you that love should not require constant confusion. Healthy connection does not force you to study every silence for signs of danger. You can ask questions, express needs, and make mistakes without fearing that one imperfect moment will destroy everything. The right people will not require you to disappear to remain close to them. Still, even healthy relationships cannot remove every uncertainty. People have changing moods, busy days, and private struggles. They may not always respond exactly as you hope. Your new identity must leave room for that humanity. You do not need to question every small change, but you also do not need to ignore repeated patterns. You learn to wait for enough information before creating a conclusion. One late reply is a moment. A long pattern of disappearing is information. One disagreement is normal. Constant disrespect is a warning. One mistake can be repaired. Repeated harm without responsibility is a choice. Wisdom is knowing the difference. This is where your depth becomes a gift. You can notice small details without giving each detail a painful meaning. You can understand people without making yourself responsible for them. You can feel deeply without allowing every feeling to become a final decision. Your sensitivity is not the enemy. It simply needs the protection of boundaries and the direction of self-trust. A river without banks floods everything around it. With strong banks, the same water gains direction and power. Your boundaries are the banks. They do not stop you from loving. They stop love from destroying the rest of your life. They show people where your responsibility ends and where theirs begins. A boundary is not an attempt to control another person. It is a decision about what you will do when a certain behavior continues. You cannot force someone to speak respectfully, but you can end a conversation when disrespect begins. You cannot force someone to be consistent, but you can stop building your peace around their promises. You cannot stop people from judging your choices, but you can stop putting your choices on trial inside your mind every night. The strongest boundary may be the one you create with yourself. You decide that you will not check their profile when loneliness rises. You will not reread old messages, searching for a version of the past that no longer exists. You will not return merely because the silence feels heavy. You decide that temporary pain will no longer push you toward permanent patterns. This is self-discipline in its deepest form. It is not punishment, it is protection of the future you are trying to build. Discipline says, I know what I feel, but I also remember what this choice will cost me tomorrow. Self-respect and discipline belong together. Self-respect chooses the direction. Discipline keeps walking when the feeling changes. Without discipline, your values remain good intentions. Without self-respect, discipline becomes another way to attack yourself. The person you must become uses both. They speak firmly without cruelty. They work consistently without treating rest as failure. They accept responsibility without carrying blame that belongs to others. They do not need to be perfect to respect themselves. This matters because perfection has been one of the deepest forms of your prison. You believed perfection would protect you from criticism, rejection, and regret. But perfection kept you preparing when you needed to begin. Your new identity must be willing to be seen learning. Allow yourself to be new at something. Allow your first attempt to look like a first attempt. Let your voice shake while you speak. Let your work improve after it enters the world. The person who waits to become excellent before beginning never gives excellence a chance to grow. You do not need a perfect plan for your future. You need a direction and enough courage to take the next step. When the step goes well, learn from it. When it goes badly, learn from that too. Both outcomes move you forward if you refuse to turn them into an attack on your worth. Mistakes are events. Failure is information. Neither is an identity. Say this when your mind tries to use one moment against your whole life. I am allowed to be a person in progress. That belief gives you room to move. The world does not need another hidden version of you waiting to feel ready. It needs the work, voice, care, and truth that only you can offer. But your purpose cannot reach the world while it is being examined endlessly inside your head. There will always be reasons to delay. Your mind can create 100 possible problems before breakfast. It can show you every person who might judge you and every way the plan could fail. Do not try to defeat every reason. Choose one stronger reason to move. Move because remaining trapped has become more painful than being seen. Move because your future deserves evidence that you tried. Move because the life inside you should not end as an idea. Success is not reserved for people who never doubt themselves. It often belongs to those who stop treating doubt as a command. You can carry doubt and still take action. You can feel fear and still speak. You can be uncertain and still choose. That is freedom in practice. Emotional freedom does not mean your mind becomes empty. It means thoughts can enter without taking ownership of the house. Some thoughts will be helpful. Listen to them. Some will reveal a real problem. Face it. Others will be old fears wearing the clothes of the present. Notice them and let them pass. You do not have to answer every thought. A thought can remain unfinished. A question can exist without becoming your entire day. When your mind asks, "What if they leave?" you can answer, "Then I will hurt, heal, and continue." When it asks, "What if I fail?" you can answer, "Then I will learn what the attempt came to teach me." When it asks, "What if they misunderstand me?" you can answer, "Then I will remain clear about who I am." The mind loses power when it discovers that every possible outcome does not frighten you away from living. This does not happen through one brave speech. It happens when you repeatedly show yourself that you can handle what comes. You survive someone's disappointment. You recover from a mistake. You spend a lonely evening without returning to the wrong person. Each experience teaches the same truth. I am stronger than the outcome I feared. Eventually, your mind no longer needs to warn you with the same force. It begins to understand that you are capable of protecting yourself through clear decisions, not endless worry. The guard inside you can finally rest because a wiser leader has arrived. That leader is you, not the frightened version searching every face for approval, not the wounded version expecting every good thing to disappear, not the perfect version you thought you needed to become. The real you, aware, imperfect, responsible, and present. Becoming this person requires one more kind of courage, the courage to live without being fully understood. Some people will only know the version of you that existed when they had access to your fear. When you change, they may describe you using an old story. Let them. You do not need to return to an old identity to prove that their memory is correct. You do not need to explain your growth to everyone who questions it. A tree does not ask permission from the ground before growing beyond the place where it began. Your roots explain you, but they do not limit your height. The past explains why you became careful. It does not decide how carefully you must live forever. Rejection explains why you became afraid of connection. It does not mean you must spend your future hiding. A mistake explains why you became uncertain. It does not remove your right to choose again. You are not required to remain loyal to a version of yourself created during pain. Honor that version for surviving, then allow it to rest. The person you are becoming does not live to prove anything to those who underestimated them. They do not build a life only to make someone regret leaving. A life built around revenge is still controlled by the person who caused the wound. Build because your life deserves expression. Grow because your ability should not remain buried. Become successful because you want to discover what disciplined effort can create, not because you need success to prove that you were worthy all along. Your worth existed before the result. Achievement can change your circumstances. but it cannot create the value that was already present. If you do not understand this, every success will require another success to keep you feeling enough. Let ambition come from self-respect instead of self-rejection. Work because you believe your future is worth the effort. Rest because your mind and body deserve care. Learn because growth makes you more capable. Continue because one slow season does not cancel your direction. This creates success that does not destroy your peace. There will be days when you feel like the old version of yourself again. A rejection may reopen old questions. A painful conversation may keep you awake. You may wonder whether any of this work has changed you. Do not measure growth by whether you are ever triggered. Measure it by what happens after. Do you notice the story sooner? Do you return to the facts faster? Do you speak to yourself with more fairness? Do you recover without losing an entire week inside your mind? Healing is often quieter than the pain that made it necessary. You may not notice the moment your life changes. You will simply realize that you no longer chase the same people, fear the same silences, or abandon the same dreams. The thought appears, but you do not follow it as far. The memory returns, but it does not become your home. The fear speaks, but your values speak louder. This is what lasting change looks like. One day, someone may leave without giving you closure. It will hurt, but you will not spend months trying to earn an explanation. Their silence will not become a question you ask yourself forever. One day, you may fail at something important. You will feel disappointed, but you will not call your entire future hopeless. You will rest, learn, and begin again. One day, you will enter a room and notice every face as you always have. But instead of asking whether you are good enough for the room, you will ask whether the room is worthy of the energy you bring. That is the moment your awareness returns to its proper place. It is no longer a weapon pointed inward. It becomes a light. The same mind that once searched for danger can now recognize truth. The sensitivity that once made you easy to wound can help you understand people without losing yourself inside them. The depth that once felt like a burden can become wisdom because it is finally supported by self-respect. This answers the question that has followed you from the beginning. How do you escape a mind that never stops watching you? You do not escape by becoming less thoughtful. You do not escape by forcing every thought into silence. You escape by becoming larger than the voice that watches. You become the one who decides which thoughts deserve attention. You become the one who separates fear from truth. You become the one who acts from values and releases what cannot be controlled. The mind may continue speaking, but it is no longer the owner of your life. You are. Freedom is not a silent head. It is a trusted self. It is knowing that wherever life takes you, you will not disappear to keep someone else comfortable. You will not destroy yourself over one mistake. You will not remain trapped at a closed door simply because walking away feels uncertain. You will stay with yourself. That is the person you must become. Not cold, not careless, and not afraid of feeling deeply. Become someone who can feel everything without losing direction, understand others without excusing disrespect, and love without surrendering self-respect. Let your awareness guide you, but never allow it to imprison you again. You were never too deep to feel free. You were only taught to use your depth against yourself. Now use it to see clearly, choose courageously, and return to the life that has been waiting for you outside your thoughts. The next time you enter a room and notice the pause before someone replies, the change in their voice, or the distance behind their smile, your mind may still begin searching for a hidden meaning. But now, something will be different. You will remember that noticing a change does not mean you caused it. Feeling fear does not mean danger is present. A painful thought does not become true simply because it speaks in your own voice. Your awareness was never the real enemy. The problem was that you used it to watch, question, and punish yourself. You understood everyone else while refusing to stand beside the one person who needed your understanding most. That person was you. Your freedom will not begin when every question is answered, every person understands you, or every fearful thought disappears. It begins when you stop placing your life on hold until your mind gives you permission to live. Some people may misunderstand you. Some relationships may end without closure. Some decisions may not produce the result you hoped for. Yet none of these moments can destroy you unless you use them as reasons to abandon yourself. You now know what to do when the old pattern returns. Calm yourself, look at the facts, examine the story, act from your values, release the result, then continue living. Do not spend another year standing outside your own life, studying everything that could go wrong. The world does not need the most perfect version of you. It needs the honest version, the one who is willing to speak, choose, begin, and grow. Before today ends, take one action that fear has been delaying. Send the application. Begin the first page. Say the honest no. Remove yourself from the conversation that keeps stealing your peace. The action does not need to be large. It only needs to prove that fear is no longer making every decision. If this audiobook gave words to a struggle you have carried silently, subscribe to the Book Frog and like this audiobook so more deep thinkers can find this message. Then comment, "I will not abandon myself." Let that be more than a comment. Let it become the promise that guides your next choice. You are allowed to think deeply without drowning in every thought. You are allowed to love people without losing yourself inside them. You are allowed to make mistakes without turning them into a life sentence. Your depth is still yours. Your sensitivity is still yours. But the fear that once controlled them does not have to remain. You do not become free when your mind finally becomes silent. You become free when its loudest fear can no longer convince you to abandon yourself.